The world was laughing at Earth's newest creation. People on news channels smiled and shook their heads. They called it a waste of money. They called it a metal mistake. They called it Project Aegis. Project Aegis was a giant machine built by humanity to protect Earth. It stood tall in the middle of a desert base. Its dark metal body looked old and slow. It did not look like the fast and sharp machines from movies. Because of this, people did not believe in it. Every day, reporters came to the base to make jokes. They said no alien would ever be scared of this thing. Social media was full of funny pictures of Aegis. Some people even said a child could beat it. Inside the base, Dr. Eli Carter watched all of this in silence. He was the lead scientist of Project Aegis. He had spent many years of his life building the machine. He knew what Aegis could really do. Aegis was not made to look pretty. It was made to think. It was made to learn. It was made to change and grow. But no one outside the base wanted to hear that. The world only cared about what looked strong. And Aegis did not look strong at all. Dr. Carter often walked around the giant machine. He placed his hand on its cold metal. He believed that one day Aegis would save lives, even if everyone else laughed. One evening, the sky over the desert slowly turned dark. The sun went down and stars appeared. The base became quiet. Only the soft sound of machines could be heard. Then something strange happened. A small light appeared high in the sky. At first, it looked like a falling star. But then it became brighter and bigger. More lights appeared. Dozens of them. Then hundreds. They were not stars. They were ships. Alarms began to ring inside the base. Screens turned on across the control room. Scientists and soldiers rushed to their stations. Dr. Carter looked up at the sky in shock. The lights were moving fast. They were coming toward Earth. But they were not moving in a clean way. They were shaking and breaking apart. Some of the ships were on fire. Some were spinning out of control. They were not attacking. They were crashing. Around the world, people watched in fear. Cities saw burning shapes falling from the sky. Oceans lit up as broken ships hit the water. Deserts, forests, and mountains all saw the same thing. Something terrible had happened in space. And it was coming straight to Earth. Dr. Carter knew this was no invasion. This was something else. This was a disaster. The laughing world was now silent. The jokes stopped. The smiles faded. Fear took their place. Inside the base, one screen showed a strange message. It was coming from the falling ships. The message was simple, but very clear. Help us. Dr. Carter felt his heart race. Whoever was out there was not an enemy. They were scared. They were running from something. Outside, the first alien ship crashed far from the base. A bright light filled the desert. The ground shook. Dust flew into the air. Humanity had just met something new. And nothing would ever be the same again. Deep inside Project Aegis, a small blue light turned on. The machine was waking up. The world had laughed at Earth's creation. But soon, it would beg for its help. All around the world, strange ships were crashing down from the sky. Some fell into the oceans. Some hit cities. Some burned across the land like fire. People ran in fear. Buildings shook. Sirens cried out in every nation. From the broken ships, strange beings stepped out. They were not wearing armor. They did not carry weapons. They were weak and tired. Some of them were tall. Some were small. Some had skin like stone. Some had skin like light. But they all had the same look in their eyes. They were afraid. These were not soldiers. These were families. Children held onto their parents. Old ones leaned on the young. They were refugees. World leaders met in fear. They spoke on screens across the planet. Some said the aliens were a danger. Some said they should be pushed back into space. No one knew what to do. Dr. Eli Carter stood inside the desert base. He watched the live reports. He saw the fear in the alien faces. He knew these beings were running from something far worse. Then a new warning appeared on every screen. Unknown ships were coming. They were not broken. They were not slow. They were powerful. These new ships formed a dark line around Earth. Their weapons began to glow. They were not here to help. The alien refugees started sending more messages. They told their story. Their home worlds had been destroyed. Their people had been hunted. They had no place left to go. They had not chosen Earth. They had fallen here by accident. Now their enemies had followed them. The unknown fleet sent a message to Earth. It was cold and simple. Give us the refugees, or you will be destroyed. Fear spread across the planet. Human cities went quiet. People watched the sky, waiting for the end. Some leaders wanted to give the refugees away. They said Earth could not fight such power. They said it was not Earth's war. But others said no. They said these beings were innocent. They said Earth should not become a place of fear and cruelty. Dr. Carter looked at Project Aegis. The giant machine was now fully awake. Its blue eyes glowed in the dark base. It was listening. It was learning. Dr. Carter made a hard choice. He sent a single command. Protect Earth. Aegis moved for the first time. Its heavy steps shook the ground. It walked out of the base and into the open desert. It looked up at the stars. In space, the enemy ships began to fire. Bright beams of energy rushed toward Earth. The first attack had begun. Aegis raised its arms. A glowing shield formed around the planet. The beams hit the shield and faded away. People across the world watched in shock. The machine they had laughed at was now standing between them and death. The alien refugees also saw this. Their eyes filled with hope. For the first time in a long time, they felt safe. Earth's mocked creation had become their shield. And the real war was only just beginning. The enemy fleet filled the dark space around Earth. Their ships were sharp and black. They moved like hungry beasts, waiting to strike again. Project Aegis floated in front of the planet. Its massive body shined with blue light. It looked small compared to the enemy fleet. But it did not move away. Inside the machine, powerful systems were working. Aegis was watching every ship. It was learning how they moved. It was reading their weapons. The enemy fired again. Thousands of energy beams rushed toward Earth. They were bright like stars. They were fast like lightning. Aegis lifted its arms. Huge shields appeared in space. The attacks crashed into the shields and disappeared. Not a single beam touched Earth. People all over the world looked up at the sky. They saw the light show above their planet. They knew something was protecting them. Dr. Eli Carter watched from the control room. His hands were shaking, but his eyes were full of hope. The enemy ships changed their attack. They sent heavy missiles next. The missiles were large and deadly. They could destroy cities. Aegis did not wait. It moved forward. Blue light formed around its hands. It began to shoot back. Energy blasts flew from Aegis. They hit the enemy missiles. Each one exploded before reaching Earth. Some enemy ships were also hit. They broke apart in space. Fire and metal spread everywhere. The alien refugees watched from the ground. They had never seen such power before. They could not believe humans had built this machine. Their enemies had destroyed many worlds. But this metal guardian was stopping them. The enemy fleet tried to go around Aegis. They split into many groups. They wanted to reach Earth from different sides. Aegis saw everything. It moved fast. It placed shields where they were needed. It blocked every path. The machine was not just strong. It was smart. It was thinking faster than any living mind. Dr. Carter smiled for the first time. He knew Aegis was becoming something more. The enemy grew angry. They sent their biggest ships forward. These ships were like moving fortresses. They fired huge beams of dark energy. Even Aegis felt the power. Its shields began to crack. But the machine did not fall back. It changed its defense. It learned from every hit. It became stronger with every second. Human fighters also joined the battle. Small ships flew around Aegis. They attacked the enemy where they could. The refugees shared what little technology they had. They sent it to the human ships. They wanted to help their new protectors. For the first time, different species were fighting together. Not for land, not for power, but for survival. The sky above Earth burned with light. The battle could be seen from every city, every ocean, every land. Aegis stood in the center of it all, taking hit after hit, never moving away. The machine that was once laughed at had become the shield of Earth and many worlds. And the enemy was starting to realize this planet would not fall easily. The battle in space was growing more dangerous. Enemy ships kept coming, wave after wave, trying to break through Aegis. Earth's skies were filled with light. People everywhere watched in fear, not knowing how long the shield would last. Inside their massive ships, the enemy leaders grew angry. They had never been stopped like this before. A cold message was sent to Earth. It played on every screen. It said the same dark words: "Give us the refugees or be destroyed." Many world leaders were afraid. Some said Earth should give them what they wanted. They said no alien life was worth the end of humanity. Others said no. They said those refugees were innocent. They had lost everything. They did not deserve to be hunted. Dr. Eli Carter stood before the world. He spoke with a strong voice. He said Earth had a choice to make. He said this moment would decide what kind of species humans really were. If we give them up, he said, we become just like their hunters. If we protect them, we show the universe who we are. Across the planet, people listened. Families, workers, soldiers. They all knew this was a moment that would be remembered forever. Slowly, the choice was made. Humanity would stand with the refugees. A single message was sent back to the enemy. We will not give them to you. The enemy fleet reacted with rage. Their biggest weapons began to charge. They were ready to destroy everything. Dr. Carter turned to Aegis. He sent a final command. Protect them at all costs. The machine received the order. Its blue eyes burned brighter. It understood what it had to do. The enemy attacked with full force. Massive beams of energy rushed forward, stronger than anything before. Aegis moved into the front line, placing itself between Earth and danger. Its shields glowed bright blue. The first blast hit. The impact shook the planet. Even mountains felt the force. Aegis's armor cracked. Sparks flew. But it did not fall. Human ships flew beside it, fighting with everything they had. The refugees also sent support, using their last pieces of technology. This was no longer just a human fight. It was a fight for every life on Earth, and every lost alien soul. The enemy kept firing, trying to break the shield, trying to end it all. But Aegis stayed strong. It kept learning. It kept adjusting. It kept protecting. Humanity had made its choice. They would not turn away from those in need. And the universe was watching. The final battle burned across space. Bright light covered the dark sky. Enemy ships were everywhere. But they were starting to fall. Aegis stood in the center of the storm. Its armor was broken in many places. Blue light shined through the cracks. But it still did not stop. The enemy sent their last wave. The biggest ships they had. They wanted to crush Earth in one strike. Aegis moved forward. It raised its damaged arms. All of its power went into one great shield. One strong wall between Earth and destruction. The enemy fired. The blast was stronger than anything before. Space itself seemed to shake. The shield held. It cracked. But it did not break. Human ships rushed forward. They attacked the enemy fleet from all sides. The alien refugees joined them, using their old weapons and brave hearts. Together, they pushed the hunters back. Ship after ship fell into fire. At last, the enemy fleet began to retreat. They could not break Earth's defense. They could not take the refugees. The battle was over. Earth was safe. Aegis slowly lowered its arms. Its systems were weak, but it was still standing. Across the planet, people cheered. They cried. They held each other. Humanity had survived. The alien refugees looked at Aegis with deep respect. To them, this machine was not metal. It was a hero. Dr. Eli Carter watched the giant from the base. Tears filled his eyes. The machine he believed in had saved 2 worlds. Project Aegis was no longer a joke. It was now a legend. The refugees were given a safe place on Earth. Humans and aliens began to work together. New cities started to rise. Built by many hands and many species. The universe would soon hear the story. Of how a small planet chose kindness over fear. Of how a mocked machine became a shield for all. Earth had changed forever. And so had humanity. They were no longer alone. And they were no longer weak. In the deep dark of space, other beings were watching, learning that Earth was not a world to laugh at. It was a world that stood up for the lost, a world that fought for hope, and the legend of Aegis would never fade.